Hello, welcome to Nationwide. I'm Ruth Aguela. Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Senator Abubakar Bagudu, says the newly formed Presidential Committee on Population and Housing Census, an ad hoc technical body, is committed to its task of identifying funding sources and ensuring proper planning for the upcoming enumeration of Nigerians. Following its inauguration last week, Bagudu, at its inaugural meeting, highlighted the team's primary assignment to provide informed guidance on finance and strategies, institutional coordination, and practical timelines for the census. Bagudu emphasized that the National Population Commission's work is to plan, coordinate, and conduct population and housing census in the country. Having established a strong foundation, the minister expects members to fulfill their responsibilities.
Terms of reference, which are: 1. Conduct a true review of the existing census budget to align it with current fiscal realities and national priorities. 2. Recommend feasible sources of funding for the census, clearly distinguishing between domestic resources and external partnerships. 3. Develop a comprehensive resource mobilization strategy, taking into consideration engagement with potential development partners, international agencies, and domestic private sector entities. 4. Assess existing preparations, logistics, and technical capacities of the National Population Commission and recommend areas requiring immediate strengthening. This no doubt include any other government agency that can be of assistance to the
Bagudu chairs the committee, which has Nasir Kwara as secretary. Members of the committee are the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Olawale Edun, Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, the Executive Chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue, Dr. Zach Adedeji, the Director General of the National Identity Management Commission, Bisoye Koka Odutso Sotse. Others are Principal Private Secretary to the President, Mr. Hakim Muri Okunola, and the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Administration, Office of the Chief of Staff, Temitola Adekunle Johnson. Federal Civil Service Strategy and Implementation Plan 2021 to 2025 is in its final year. We're here with the theme, Delivering Results. Now, with this renewed vigor, head of the Federal Civil Service of the Federation, D.D. Wilson Jack, is engaging newly appointed permanent secretaries and the Accountant General of the Federation in a 3-day induction program in Abuja. Ayo Deji Makinde reports.
This 3-day induction course is for technocrats appointed by President Bola Tinubu between May 2024 and February 2025. They are here to build their leadership and strategic management prowess through theoretical and practical exchanges with experts, retired permanent secretaries, and the head of the Civil Service of the Federation. There are 5 women among the 18 new permanent secretaries and the Accountant General of the Federation. They are aware of the onerous task ahead of them, but are sure on preparedness to contribute their quota to make Nigeria better.
I encourage us to see this as a defining beginning. Let us absorb, contribute, and connect, knowing that the work before us demands more than competence. It demands collaboration, courage, and a commitment to national progress.
In an era of ambitious reforms, FCIP 25 and the Renewed Hope Agenda, Head of Civil Service of the Federation, D.D. Wilson Jack, believes the appointments are timely and coincides with their wealth of experience and expertise.
As permanent secretaries and as the Accountant General of the Federation, you occupy strategic positions at the apex of Nigeria's federal bureaucracy. You are the engine room of policy implementation, service delivery, and administrative stewardship.
These sessions ongoing in Abuja are to aid their decisions leadership and sense of urgency on key federal government policies as it affects the assigned portfolios. In Abuja, Ayodeji, Makinde, NTA News.
All right, let's head to Accra, Ghana, where we hear ECOWAS Council of Ministers emergency meeting is underway to ensure a smooth transition of the withdrawal of the 3 Sahelian countries as a contingency plan for the regional bloc. We join our correspondent live now, Garba Nata'ala, who is standing by for an update on strategies put in place by the ministers of the West African sub-region. Garba.
Thank you for joining us here in Accra, Ghana. A lot is actually happening. And the ECOWAS Council of Ministers is just a fallout of the 66th ordinary session of the Council of Ministers that was held recently, where President Tinubu instructed them to provide and work out modalities on the withdrawal of the 3 Sahelian states. That is Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger. And so far, they have been compelled to suspend some of the ongoing programs that are currently going on in those Sahelian countries. Actually, one of the key projects that they have achieved in Burkina Faso especially is the West African Health Organization known as WAHU. There is also the sports center in Burkina Faso. In Mali, there is an animal center, an animal health center also. So they are now considering the suspension of various programs in line with those organizations. They are also considering suspending the free movement protocol between ECOWAS and those 3 Sahelian states. The issue of disengagement of staff in those countries, which the leaders here say they are compelled to do so. It is not their wish, but rather the wish of the decision of the 3 Sahelian states. There is also many and variety of economic development programs and projects going on with those 3 Sahelian states, which they are compelled to suspend. It's against their wish, it's against their will, but they have to succumb to what the 3 Sahelian states actually want and they are asking. And they are actualizing it now. After they have finished discussions, they are expected to bring out a memoranda which they will submit before their principals. And we, the journalists, are also expecting to hear from them on what resolutions they have taken in order to absorb the shocks of the separation between ECOWAS and the 3 Sahelian states. For now, they are in discussion. I wouldn't want to preempt what they are doing. It's better the leaders inform us on what they have ruled out and the kind of economic development they have streamlined in order to forge ahead. And they believe the regional bloc will emerge stronger. That is it for now from here. And all these adjustments, according to the leaders, is to ensure that they stick to the current realities of what is happening. They have to make all these adjustments in order to forge ahead and emerge stronger.
Thank you, Garba, and I'm sure you keep us up to speed as the development unfolds. We turn to attention back home. The federal government is advocating a policy that will enhance quality, flexibility, and career prospects for teachers. Now, already talks are ongoing to implement the dual mode of studying Nigeria's certificate in education and degree programs concurrently towards modernizing teachers' education in colleges of education across the country. Zanret Dingmun reports.
For some time now, the federal government has been working on appropriate modalities to addressing the challenges facing teacher education in the country. And as talks progress on the implementation of dual mandate in Nigerian colleges of education, the Minister of Education is tasking stakeholders to embrace the initiative as he explains that the benefits of studying NCE and degree programs concurrently are enormous and will transform teacher training.
If colleges of education do it well, you will have more enrollment than universities. You have more enrollment than polytechnics because you've given children that don't have the opportunity to go to university or polytechnic with the credit, you've given them pathway. At the same time, you're absorbing students that met the requirement to go to universities.
Most of these institutions that were selected to kickstart this process are institutions that already are operating dual-minded, just that not as an independent institution, but rather in affiliation with other institutions.
We have tried so much to see that we go by global standard. UNICEF and UNESCO are solidly behind us in collaboration.
And as hope rises, the expectation is that the implementation of the scheme will take effect from 2026, and stakeholders are encouraged to put the work required towards making it a reality. In Abuja, Zenre Dingmu, NTA News.
The Minister of Interior, Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, has ordered an investigation into the alleged extortion of 5.2 million naira by NSCDC officers. The officers reportedly targeted a group of young men traveling from Ado-Ekiti to Akure. In a statement, the minister insists there will be no cover-up, as any officer found guilty will face the full weight of the law. He reaffirmed the ministry's commitment to building a disciplined and patriotic paramilitary force that upholds justice and serves with integrity. In Yola, motorists we hear and road users in the state will soon breathe a sigh of relief following road constructions in the strategic locations across the state and other measures that will reduce traffic congestion. Simon Asher has that report for us.
The ongoing construction of underpass flyover bridge at Fire Service Roundabout connecting Galadima Aminu Way, popularly known as Bank Road, Bekaji Housing Estate, and other major streets in the state capital promises to revolutionize transportation and economic development in Adamawa State.
I am very impressed with what this state government is doing.
Exciting thing about all this thing is that it is being carried out simultaneously across every location. Now, look at the modern market that is undergoing. Work is going. The overhead bridge, everything is just going simultaneously, and work is at a speed that one can say that this can be achievable in no time.
The construction work is progressing steadily, with the retaining wall nearing completion as the drainage system and the slip road advances rapidly, with the earthwork for the underpass bridge in its final stages.
As you can see now, the underpass under the wiring, the retaining wall have gone to an extent now. So what remains now is for us to finish the retaining wall and start launching the cross beam here on top.
The underpass flyover bridge no doubt will have a significant impact on reducing traffic congestion, improving traffic flow, enhancing safety, and providing economic, environmental, and social benefit to the people. In Yola, Simon Asher, NTA News.
There's nothing as a relief of having access roads linking communities. Let's join Simon Asher now live, who will throw more light on the issue. Hello, Simon.
Hello. The underpass flyover bridge, which is located at the fire service roundabout that connects the Galadima Aminu Way, Bekaji, and the State Polytechnic, it has come at it is timely because of the influx of people and the traffic congestion that normally characterize the Aminu Galadima Way because of the commercial banks that is located at this particular axis of Adamawa State, even the NNPC, the central bank, leading to the Yola International Airport. And as such, the state government deemed it fit for the construction of the underpass flyover bridge so as to mitigate the effect of traffic congestion. And I can tell you so far, the work is progressing steadily as the retaining wall is almost completed and the underpass has already been dug, as you can see now. Everything is moving smoothly. Everything is moving smoothly, and the workers are doing just good work so that they will ensure that the people can have access or hitch-free vehicular movement each time they are applying to the Galadima Aminu Way.
All right, thank you very
And
much,
I can assure you that upon completion of this project.
Okay, Simon there giving us update on the benefit and of course ongoing process in the road construction across the state. We'll link up. We're going to Lagos where we join Awal Yusuf Jibo. Let's find out what's happening there. Hello, Awal.
Nigeria could save the $4 billion annual value of steel industry import expenditure with increase in local content and capacity of the sector, as the federal government is targeting fiscal incentives and a legislative framework that will revitalize the industry. Minister of Steel Development Shuaibu engagement with stakeholders during his working visit to Lagos. Joel Popola tells us more.
The creation of the Steel Development Ministry is an attestation to the determination of the current administration to revive the sector that had been in limbo for decades. And the agenda of the current administration, the Minister Shuaibu Abubakar says, is already yielding the desired result, with local industries demonstrating capacity to meet the annual demand for steel and allied products in Nigeria. This has also resulted in direct and indirect employment for thousands of Nigerians. The minister, who is impressed with the impact the ongoing reforms is having on the industry, especially in the area of local content, says incentives will be provided to sustain the ongoing momentum.
As a government, we can help to improve and encourage local production. Part of what we're looking to do is to create a methodological industry bill where we can put fiscal incentives that can encourage local production and encourage steel production as a whole.
At a costly visit to the Deputy Governor of Lagos State, Obafemi Hamzat, as part of the working visit, he notes that support of the state government is instrumental to propel the steel industry to its rightful place.
We're here to get all the support we can get from the Lagos State government, and more importantly, to work harmoniously. On most of the steel operators, 60% of them are based in Lagos.
On its part, the Lagos State government says it will continue to provide necessary support to facilitate the realization of the $1 trillion economy.
Steps, you've often listened to it. Also, in terms of all the factories in Lagos, Lagos State will feed into the Renew Hope agenda of Mr. President and our party. So we are here with you. Thank you very much. And then we work with you, we work with all this industry.
With key players on the same page, it is hoped that the growth trajectory of the sector will be sustained. In Lagos, Joel Bukbola, NTA News.
Risk factor exists in any business, and Nigerians are known to be risk takers, and this has provided opportunities for fraudulent investment schemes who offer high and unrealistic returns on investment. Despite the persistent warnings by regulatory authorities, many Nigerians are still trapped in this web of investment schemes. Joel Popola in this report examines how to curb the nefarious activities of the scammers.
It comes with different names and formats, from Wonder Bank that swindled unsuspecting members of the public 20 years ago, to MMM, which cashed in on the desperation of many Nigerians about 10 years ago. Many have lost hard-earned money to fraudulent investments. These simillion-ending pyramids of deceits are once again gaining traction, with over 1 trillion naira losses recorded by Nigerians to cybers.
I think I remember that was 2022. I invested, I think, the whole of my saving for that year, and all just went like that.
These losses have serious economic backlash in view of the humongous amount of money involved.
So this scheme has pulled our people into poverty, and it's a major disaster. 1.3 trillion is more than the annual budget of some states put together.
Fraudulent investment schemes, according to financial experts, come with very clear red flags, but many out of greed ignore these red flags.
For any investment you want to put your money, you must be able to first consult your financial advisors to know the genuineness of all these investment schemes before you put your money into it.
The way out of this imbroglio is for the regulatory authorities to block all loopholes scammers are exploiting and also intensify surveillance.
Have people that are active on social media, Facebook, Twitter. When you see some of these platforms, you know they are not registered. You have to be proactive. Then you're trying to do the tracking. You can engage other security agencies in helping you tracking these people.
While it is difficult to recoup lost investments, stakeholders believe financial education will help many Nigerians avoid these pitfalls. In Lagos, Joel Ukwola, NTA News.
And those are the stories from Lagos. Nationwide continues in Sokoto after the break. Do stay tuned.
Welcome to Sokoto on Nationwide. About $500 million to be invested by 2 foreign companies to fast-track development of Kebbi State. Governor Nasir Idris disclosed this during an engagement with the Kebbi Elders Consultative Forum in Birnin Kebbi, the Kebbi State capital. Correspondent Abdul Jalil Muhammad Bawa reports.
The engagement brought together members of the 31-year-old Kebbi Elders Consultative Forum, comprising elderly statesmen of Kebbi origin from across the country. The forum formed to provide advice and constructive challenges to the state government on activities needed to drive development in the state. The forum is optimistic that the state government's investment in agriculture, mining, education, and industrialization, among other sectors, will boost the economy and improve revenue generation of the state.
With the kind of people that are in this forum, we will constructively advise the governor and we will insist that he will do the right thing. So, so far, so good.
I came to Birnin Kebbi yesterday and let me say I was shocked with the improvement I saw.
Governor Nasir Idris reiterated his readiness to consult with the forum on issues that will develop the state.
The government of Kebbi State will do everything possible to provide an enabling environment for investors. So therefore, I know this meeting is going to yield a lot of result to the entire people of Kebbi State.
The consultative forum is expected to continue engaging the state government on matters of urgent importance in the state. In Birnin Kebbi, Abdul Muhammad Bawa, NTA News.
Aside their critical role as mothers in the society, women have been described as pillars that have contributed immensely in shaping the political landscape and sustenance of democracy in Nigeria. This came to the fore at a capacity-building training for women journalists in the Northwest Geopolitical Zone held in Sokoto. Abdullahi Umar Ilalu reports.
The capacity-building training organized by the Nigeria Association of Women Journalists, NAWOJ, the Women's Rights Advancement and Protection Alternative RAPA, in collaboration with Human Development Consult, is aimed at enhancing the critical role women journalists play in the political and democratic development of Nigeria.
When you look both at the National Assembly and state assemblies, very few women are represented, usually less than 5%. This means the female voice in national decision-making is absent, and that's bad for society.
As we gather to share insights, skills, and strategies, let us celebrate the power of storytelling and the impact of our voices as women in shaping the narrative of leadership in Nigeria.
In her paper titled Contribution of Female Journalists to Media Advocacy for Electoral Reforms in Nigeria, a veteran broadcaster, Fatima Abbas Hassan, underscores the importance of female journalists and the crucial role they play through daily reportage, informing the public, amplifying marginalized voices, and influencing government policies.
Now, this is why when you follow a conversation where a female journalist is leading the questioning and her interaction with the guest, you will see the difference in how the questions are being asked and how the answers are being given.
The national president of NAWOJ, Aisha Ibrahim Kebura, represented, commended the initiative.
We don't take this commitment and support for granted, according to the national chairperson, because it will go a long way in giving more women more opportunity to access or to be part of the democratic process.
There were goodwill messages by some stakeholders. The 4-day workshop has as participants 40 female journalists from Sokoto, Katsina, Zamfara, and Kebbi states. From Sokoto, Abdullahi Umar Ilalu, NTA News.
And that's it from here. Nationwide continues with Ruth in Abuja.
Thank you very much, Asmao. The process for the commencement of commercial flight operations at the Gateway Agro Cargo International Airport has begun, with the official visit of officials of the Nigerian Airspace Management Agency, who carried out validation of facilities at the airport. Hakim Jimo reports.
The flight check by senior personnel of the Nigerian Airspace Management Agency was to evaluate facilities at the airport to ensure it conforms with the proposed procedure defined for the airport in line with international best practice. The team leader, Miri Selzing, who commended the Ogun State government for the laudable project, says he is impressed with the state of facilities at the airport.
We have seen the procedure that are drawn. We've checked it on the air, and then we'll analyze when we get back to our base, and then we'll be able to come up with recommendations for modifications where necessary.
This is one of the last elements of things we need to do to get the commercial approval. They've gone through what is called the 23 and the 05, checking, identify all the key, what is known as the waypoints along the way. So once the flight check everything, this will be developed and put on the internet for anybody who wants to come from anywhere in the world.
For the Commissioner of Works, the airport, which is 97% completed, has ultra-modern state-of-the-art facilities. From Ilishon Remo in Ogun State, Akem Jimo, NTA News.
In other news, the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetukun, has announced the immediate reorganization of the police mobile force to focus primarily on its mandate of responding to emergencies. The IGP gave the directive at a meeting with the squadron commanders in Abuja. Francis Pham reports.
Moving forward, indiscipline and misconduct within the NPF will no longer be tolerated.
It is the Inspector General of Police High-Level Conference with 84 Police Mobile Force Squadron Commanders held at the Force Headquarters in Abuja. The IGP emphasized the urgent need to reposition the Police Mobile Force in line with its original mandate as an elite tactical unit equipped to respond swiftly to riots, emergencies, and violent threats.
All PMF squadrons are directed to maintain at least one fully equipped, combat-ready unit on standby at all times. These units must be prepared to support their respective state commands in any situation requiring urgent tactical intervention. Additionally, each squadron will be required to send one unit for training every quarter. These sessions will go beyond operational proficiency, placing strong emphasis on ethics, professionalism, and the principles of responsible policing.
The IGP urged the squadron commanders to lead by example through consistent training, mentorship, and routine inspections aimed at upholding operational excellence and respect for human rights. Francis Pham, NTA News.
The Nigerian Television Authority will strengthen existing synergy through adequate projection of the Nigerian Air Force activities. This was disclosed when the Executive Director of News, Ayo Adewi, hosted the Director of Public Relations and Information, Nigerian Air Force, at the NTA headquarters in Abuja. Defense correspondent Olajide Bello reports.
Nigerian Air Force had long soared above the headlines and visible in the skies, while their mission grew in scale and significance from counter-terrorism to disaster relief and public awareness. The force needed a strong voice on the ground to match its strength in the air. Hence, this visit by the Director of Public Relations and Information to cement the already existing relationship between the Nigerian Air Force and the Nigerian Television Authority.
The battle space has changed. It's much more than just bombs and bullets. Now we're talking about winning hearts and minds, about building trust. And this is in line with the 61st anniversary theme that the Nigerian Force is projecting, which is about optimizing civil-military relations.
The Nigerian Television Authority, which exudes professionalism and accuracy, as a national broadcaster, reiterates its commitment to world peace and national development in line with its vision and mission.
We understand the importance of the armed forces and the need for us to synergize in achieving the security that we all desire in Nigeria. That is why, like I said, we have to attach correspondence to each of the arms of the armed forces because of the importance. So I hope we will continue the relationship and strengthen
The NTA says it will continue to be at the front line of objectivity, projecting the activities of the armed forces as they continue to protect Nigeria's territorial integrity. Olajide Bello, NTA News.
Enugu will be our next stop as we join Comfort for our next set of reports. Hello, Comfort.
Enugu Network Center. The federal government is putting modalities to revitalize and operationalize the Nigerian railway system in order to ensure seamless movement of goods and services and growth in the country's economy. The new managing director, Nigerian Railway Corporation, Dr. Kayode Opefe, was speaking during a familiarization visit to Enugu. Chika Ugu reports.
The railway transport sector, no doubt, is crucial for Nigeria's economic growth, as it is a key facilitator for trade, industry, and infrastructural development. It is in the light of the above that the Managing Director, Nigerian Railway Corporation, had an interactive session with staff of the NRC district Enugu to ensure smooth operation.
Railway assets are no scrap. They are national assets that must be protected by everybody. Those people who are interested in ripping, stripping our assets should stay away. Our rail metals are not scraps. They are national assets, and we determine whether they are usable or unusable.
The next port of call was the Government House, where he called for the state government's cooperation to bring the project to fruition. Governor Mbahu noted that the history of the state is intertwined with the railway sector, as it was a major means of transporting coal to other states.
We're very delighted to hear that that plan is in motion and that we will soon have the rail running to this place. We also have plans to ensure that even within the states, we also get our own rail system going. So it will just be a perfect, marriage.
With the promise of President Tinubu to revive the Eastern Rail line connecting Port Harcourt in the oil-rich Niger Delta to Maiduguri in northern eastern Nigeria, hopes are high that the rail sector will come alive again. In Enugu, Chika Ubu, NTA News.
The assurance of potable water for all in Enugu at the onset of the current administration in the state is one promise every resident received with so much hope and anticipation. Several months down the line, residents in some part of the city are grateful for the promise kept. Others still hopeful that the water reticulation project would bring permanent solution to the age-long water scarcity in the coal city. Susan Eze has an update.
The issue of water scarcity in Enugu has lingered for decades. The Peter Mba-led administration took off with massive water reticulation project, replacing old installations and laying new ones.
With the coming of the governor, the volume of water production rose from that 2 million to 70 million at 9th Mile, and thereafter to additional 50 million, making it 120 million liters daily.
Close to 2 years down the line, some residents around New Haven, Independence Layout, parts of Achara Layout, Uwani and others are happy with the progress made so far.
I live in New Haven, so at least by now we'll get water like 3 times or 4 times in a week.
In other parts, however, such as Kou Camp, Gariki, parts of New Layout and other areas, the taps are still dry.
Let government be consistent. The people and the masses are willing to pay.
Meanwhile, state government continues to assure residents that efforts are still on to bring potable water to every home in the metropolis as they tackle issues of vandalism, burst pipes, among other challenges.
When we looked at the statistical needs for the data of what the people need in the state, was about 100 million liters daily. But the state has been able to produce 120 million liters of water daily.
Residents are enjoined to safeguard water installations and report vandals to the authorities. In Enugu, Susan Eze, NTA News.
Well, from here, taking a break now to join Makudi thereafter to join us again.
Have you join us in Makudi? President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has assured citizens of the state that the federal government will step up its efforts in overcoming insecurity and returning normalcy in Benue State. National Security Advisor Malam Nuhu Ribadu gave the assurance when he visited Governor Hyacinth earlier at the Government House, Makudi. Elias Itiab reports.
Benue State has come under banditry and armed-headed attacks in recent times, with the latest claiming the lives of over 70 persons, with thousands displaced. The visit of the president, represented by the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, is to commiserate with the state government and to interface with relevant stakeholders on ways of ending insecurities in the state.
We're happy that the president is sent you to come see things for yourself. He has been very supportive, and it is my firm belief that this support will come.
The National Security Advisor assured the people that the federal government will step up its efforts in ensuring that relative peace is restored in Benue State and warned against politicizing security issues for personal reasons.
I can assure you that steps will be taken to address this problem. There are many things that we have had, private briefing, and of course from the traditional rulers, that will require reinvigorated effort to address the problem.
Some traditional rulers from the 3 senatorial districts of the state, as well as the senator representing Benue Northeast, Emmanuel Udele, charged security agencies to redouble their efforts in putting a permanent end to what they describe as a pitiable situation that has crippled every facet of life, including their economies. In Makudi, Elias Itiaf, NTA News.
Paramount ruler of the Tiv Nation, Professor James Otese Ayatse, has reaffirmed the need for peace and unity amongst the Tiv people for the overall growth and development of the state. Professor Ayatse disclosed this while briefing the media on the outcome of the high-powered meeting held at the Totiv Palace in Boko. Elias Itiab again reports.
The nation and indeed Benue State has been confronted with several challenges, including insecurity and seeming lack of needed unity to tackle them headlong. The high-powered meeting held at the instance of the paramount ruler of the Tiv Nation, His Royal Majesty Professor James Otese Ayatse, had Governor Hyacinth earlier, former governors Samuel Otom and Senator Gabriel Susam, members of the National and State Assemblies, traditional rulers, as well as other prominent sons and daughters of the Tiv extraction in attendance. The main thrust of the meeting is to promote the spirit of oneness and chart a way forward in love and unity for the progress of the people and the state in general. Professor Ayatse insisted that with unity of purpose, every aspiration is achievable.
The spirit in that meeting was that of unity across the length and breadth of Benue State. We will speak the same voice, will be united together for the progress and good of our people. I don't foresee any divisions. I don't foresee any disagreement. We are all facing common problems and challenges.
Similar meetings between the Ochidoma, His Royal Majesty John Elaigu Odubo, and prominent Idoma sons and daughters aimed at fostering peace and development of the state was also held at the Ochidoma Palace in Otokpo local government area of the state. From Boko local government area, Elias Etiaf, NTA News.
And that does it from Makudi. We now return to Ruth in Abuja for more on Nationwide.
Thank you very much, Susan. In a bid to safeguarding the public health sector and create real-time environmental solutions, the Cross River State government has restated its commitment to sustainable environmental practices. Commissioner for Environment, Moses Osogi, stated this while speaking on the essence of the monthly sanitation exercise conducted every last Saturday of the month across all 18 local government areas in the state. Let's hear from Oba Hyacinth.
Clean and Clean initiative by Cross River State government, which has been its distinguishing factor over the years, Moses Osogi, the commissioner, emphasized is a policy drive geared toward not only the monthly sanitation exercise, but instilling sustainable environmental consciousness by residents.
I'm not surprised because we believe that Cross River State is going to be a new state in terms of cleanliness and the serenity of the environment, and that's what we have seen today.
We've seen a level of compliance across the Calabar metropolis, and it's encouraging. People no longer wait for us to go after them for them to carry out sanitation.
Some residents reiterate clean environment as critical component of public health.
Because they make it our environment clean.
It's very good. It's making our Cross River clean. Everywhere is clean.
This sustainable environmental drive, the commissioner says, is a signatory policy of Governor Bassio to administration, which will engender an eco-friendly atmosphere for all. In Calabar, Oba Hyacinth, NTA News.
Well, looking at the sustainability plan of the environmental sanitation, let's join Oba Hyacinth to tell us the strategy the state government has adopted. Hello, Oba.
Thank you very much, Ruth Aguele. The sanitation initiative of Cross River State has many components. Aside the monthly sanitation, which is every last Saturday of each month, the Cross River State government had initiated a lot of other strategies. One of such was the desilting of the gutters. You will agree with me that once the canal gutters and the drainages are blocked by waste, it not only affects the health of its citizens, it could lead to floods and other hazards. And so the Cross River State government went vigorously on that aspect, ensuring that all the drainage gutters and canals are made open. The government didn't stop at that because waste most times is generated by street traders. The government initiated a policy of evacuating all the street traders off major streets in Calabar and other major urban centers in the state. And it didn't end there. The government also created spots where these street traders could go and trade and do their businesses. The government created spots in Calabar, 3 areas very close to 8 miles. The government created a spot there. The government also created a spot in Calabar South and one in Calabar Municipal Council where street traders could go and do their business. This helped in reducing littering of waste generated from this aspect of people. The government also went further into reclamation of green spots, which hitherto some have been occupied by residents, some trees have died and grass is dead, and so the government initiated a policy, and this policy went as far as tree planting. In doing this, the Cross River State government understood at the inception of the office that a lot of waste were littered. Government also procured equipment, dump sites and receptacles to households.
All right, Oba Hyacinth there giving us all the details across, what's happening in the local government. And it's good to see that the residents are cooperating to keep the environment clean. Should be replicated across the country, right? Just thinking. In other news, Delta State Governor Sharif Oborevori and all the People's Democratic Party stakeholders in the state have defected to the ruling All Progressives Congress. Now, this was disclosed by the State Commissioner for Works, Rural Roads and Public Information after a closed-door meeting of stakeholders in the Government House in Asaba. Susan Esu report.
The Government House was flooded with past and present National Assembly members, House of Assembly, local government chairmen, and other stakeholders of the PDP in Delta State for a closed-door meeting which lasted for close to 6 hours. Press men waited anxiously to be briefed. Then came the much-anticipated news that Governor Sharif Oborevori has shifted grounds politically after months of consultations.
It is said that when the taste of the palm wine changes, the drinking pattern also changes. And the leaders of the party, in the course of the consultation, were unanimous in their view that the political temperature have changed, the taste of the palm wine in this instance have also changed, and there was a need for us to adjust the drinking pattern. And in adjusting that drinking pattern, we needed to take a decision that will further help to cement the development in our state, to build the bond of love that have existed in our state, to further advance the cause of security and welfare of our people, and to a very large extent, ensure that development in Delta, because every politics is local.
And still talking politics, elected members of the defunct Congress for Progressive Change that later dissolved into the All Progressives Congress says there is no faction in the fold and cautions those parading themselves as leaders and threatening the governing party to desist. The members, who were mostly former National Assembly members, recognized Senator Umaru Tanko Al-Mukura as leader of the bloc and promised to mobilize the 12 million legacy votes secured in the 2011 presidential election for President Tinubu. 2023 presidential election for President Tinubu.
Group or persons or entity has the authority to speak for or on behalf of the defunct CPC, except the elected representatives of the party who were duly chosen by its supporters in 2011.
We are the
Sports update will be next.
To further boost the standard of the game of squash in Nigeria, the Nigerian Squash Federation organized a 2-day coaching course for the Armed Forces of Nigerian coaches at Package B section of the Moshood Abiola National Stadium, Abuja. The participants were taught the basic introductory techniques and strategies to get the best of the players, as well as the role coaches need to play in shaping their players' performance.
Your ability to identify your players' strengths and weaknesses makes it even a plus on your own part. It means you care. It means you are detailed in what you do.
The armed forces have been the bedrock of squash in this country, but at some point we saw a decline, and on our own part, this is something we want to do to support that with the support of the Chief of Defense Staff.
Similarly, a 10-day International Tennis Federation National Level 1 course has ended in Abuja. The tennis coaching program put together by the Nigerian Tennis Federation aims to equip participants with latest coaching techniques, skills, and knowledge needed to excel in their various coaching careers.
They are young, they have knowledge of the game, and we're trying to make sure that they understand the modern teaching methodology.
What I have garnered here, I'm going to put it into use to contribute to tennis development in Nigeria.
And finally, in gymnastics.
That concludes Nationwide. Thank you for your time. I'm Ruth Aguele. Good evening.